Brian Wong is here today because there's a major breaking story with regard to Cursor. Cursor had a couple of days of maybe one day, I'm not sure exactly how many days they did of a conference. They made major new product introductions, but that was just the icing on the cake because Brian's been talking with me over the last several days about how important Cursor is before those announcements. So,
Yeah,
Brian, I'm going to just kind of turn it over to you for now because I know you have a slide deck and people just don't get how important this cursor thing is.
right. So, let me get my deck up. Sorry, I will get it in a second. Give me, okay, here we go. Here we got the deck. Um, okay, so, oops. So, people talk about SpaceX undervalued. We're talking about the cursor stuff, how hugely valuable that is. We're going to compare SpaceX to Micron.
Mhm.
It went 10x last 12 months,
Right.
and why that happened, and why does that mirror what's happening with SpaceX. I'll go over quarter by quarter, do a growth deep dive, where the multiples are, and how this is going to play out.
Mhm.
But with the concentration on the cursor and stuff. But there's an energy and a revenue multiple to
Mhm.
what SpaceX is doing. Energy means that they are 2 gigawatts-ish now of, like, in Colossus 1, Colossus
Mhm.
2, and they can add 2 gigawatts a year or more each of the next several years. And with stuff that's at a lower price than anyone else, right? So they're
Right.
cheaper and faster. And the revenue multiples are, for Cursor, there could be a 6x revenue multiple there. And then for Rubin, there's a 3x multiple. Combine the two is like an 18x multiple. So I said 2 gigawatts,
Mhm.
roughly what we have now, middle of Q2 2026.
Mhm.
We can get to 3 to 4 gigawatts quite easily by Q2, so 12 months from now in
Okay.
2027, and it can go even higher than that, end of 2027 into 2028. The Rubin chips, those are coming out right now. They're being made into racks. Dell, all the guys are popping them into racks and saying, "Hey, look, figured out how to make them into racks," which of course you knew they would do, and
Right.
then they will start rolling them out in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of chips, just like they did with Blackwell and H100 before that. Go ahead.
So your theory that it's going to be into 2027 before we set up the next 2 gigawatts is oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the next two would be second quarter 2027. Is that because we don't have any visibility on a facility yet, or because it sounds like we could get the chips and get them going if we do have a facility
We have
that's already
visibility on facility, we have visibility on energy.
oh,
I'm just
being
ballparking
cautious?
that. I have tables where I assume 100,000 chips, and they mostly be Rubin pretty quickly per quarter, per
Okay,
quarter.
okay,
But we've been building faster than that to
yeah,
get to the 730,000, 750,000 chips we have now,
okay,
right? So we built faster than that, 100,000 per quarter. Um, because our first 100,000 was done in 120 days. And then we did another 100,000 in 90 days. And then I think we're doing 100,000 every 60 days, right?
okay.
So we could be at 200,000 every 90 days,
Every 90 days,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to be conservative
Conservative.
and say that we're at 100,000, but it could be lumpy,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it could be 200,000 in 6 months, right? But if I'm going to do 100,000 per quarter to kind of like show what that is. But
Right.
I will also discuss, I can show you a picture of what the third site looks like right
Oh,
now.
okay, okay, all right. I'll wait for that.
Right? I can show you a picture of the gas turbines that we're
Oh,
going to be using,
oh, all right.
right? So I've counted down everything,
Wow.
right? Okay, so the cursor part is 6x, right? It's the biggest ramp up re-rating when it goes 6x with cursor catching up. So catching up to Anthropic, Composer 3, Grok 5, Grok 6, and they'll be taking shots on goal in July, August, September. They'll be dropping down models and trying to do the catch up, right? Once they do it, and they'll be trying like every month, catch up, catch up, catch up, catch up,
Mhm, mhm,
right?
mhm.
And then we'll know, have they caught up, right? 6 trillion parameter model, 10 trillion parameter model, right? Once they get to the big models, which they're supposed to train 10 times faster, more shots on goal. World Cup little reference
Right,
there.
right, right, right. I got you. I got you. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, listen, I did see an article earlier today that was talking about what did you call it? The perfect matchup between these guys at Cursor and the guys at Tesla and
Yeah,
SpaceX, in particular Elon Musk, that they move like Musk,
that's right.
that they're super fast, that they
That's right.
iterate,
That's right.
and that the we don't have to worry about some kind of a difference between the
Yeah,
teams. The
right.
teams are merging quite nicely.
Yeah, the teams are good. They're get along great. They're all fast, and they're working together on the ball. So they're smart and there's synergy. So it should go smoothly, right?
Okay.
So the Rubin stuff, the 3x, so that's happening Q3, Q4,
Okay.
right? So that step up happens as they get volume, and we know from a BG2 podcast, um, Brad Gerstner
Yeah.
and Gavin Baker was on. They said 20% allocation of Rubin chips, right?
Okay.
So we didn't have to guess how many Rubin chips they're going to have. They're going to have
Okay.
20% of everything made.
Okay.
Okay, 5 Rubin chips, they get one. Okay, so if they make 1 million Rubin chips, then you have
200,000.
200,000 for them. You make 5 million Rubin chips, kind of like how many Blackwell chips we have, a
Mm,
million for them.
mm,
Okay, 20%. Again, no guessing. Someone else told us.
right.
Okay, so 4 gigawatts could be possible, and we can still get 1 gigawatt in space. I'll explain why that is not insane and possible. Worst case, I see that at a half gigawatt, 500 megawatts in
Okay.
space
In 2027.
in 2027. And
Right.
if that happens, and they're Rubin chips, that is like $100 billion.
Okay.
Okay, and if I caught up on Cursor, it's $300 billion. Okay, so 2028, 4 to 10 gigawatts in space. Space AI at the multiple. So multiple, 3 from Rubin, 6 from Cursor. Those go together, 18 together, right? 3 and 6. And then AI in space is a 1.3 in 2027. It's a double in 2028. And then it's 10x in 2029, right? If they're a bit slower, then you can take a bit off of that.
Sure.
But
Sure.
that is anywhere near the plans that they have. So then combine that 3 times 6 times 10, you're at 180, right?
Okay.
Which people, it's too much, but we're just gonna go with it. Okay. So here's what the cursor catch-up. Let me do the one without the cursor catch-up. So we're at 780,000 chips, 550,000 in Colossus 2, 230,000 in Colossus 1, right? 780,000, right? 435,000 been rented. 230,000 to Anthropic in Colossus 1, 95,000 they have in Colossus 2, 110,000 from Google, 435,000, right? That's the revenue run rate, 26 billion,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
They announced that, not me
Yep.
making that up,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Unrented 345,000 chips, right? But those chips are B300s. They're not, like H100, they're
Mhm.
B300s. So then if I rent them out at the same rate Google was paying, that is another $34 billion, right?
Okay.
So that combined is 60 billion, right?
So, are you thinking that as soon as the Vera Rubins are set up and ready to go, that they would switch to doing their compute on the latest, greatest? Now they can rent out the previous.
Right, right. That would be something where, or you can just allocate. I need so much compute. I can, they've here in Colossus 2, I have half of it, right?
Right. Right.
I'm willing to have other people in with my Colossus 2,
Hmm.
right? So I could definitely fully switch over to my new Rubin thing. I set up 100,000,
Right.
200,000 chips in a quarter.
Right.
And then if I do that by Q4, I would then say, yeah, I don't need the Blackwells for sure.
Right.
Although if I caught up, right,
Mhm.
then I ramp up to $100 billion on the 345,000 chips I have. I have more chips
Mhm.
than
Mhm.
Anthropic does.
Mhm.
They can go to 100 billion, 200 billion of that on that size of GPU. I can do the same thing.
Mhm.
And then as I pass 100 billion, I would be saying, okay, yeah, in 90 days, get out of that other stuff. I'm not going to take any more of your 26 billion, um, you know, pennies. I'm going to go triple, six times triple that now, right? And so then I'm up to 100, 150 billion on my half, and then I take over the other half and I ramp that up to 150 billion.
Yeah.
So I go to 300 billion, right? So that I have what that looks like in the previous slide.
Okay.
So anyway, so 100,000 chips per quarter. Again, could be lumpy. If I'm renting out half, this is what the revenue looks like. The Rubin gives me a double or triple in the rental, right? So
Yeah.
I'm getting up to 147 billion annual run rate, which is getting close to, 100 billion, 80 billion was what NVIDIA was doing last year, the 2025 thing, when we were doing like 18.7, right?
Hmm.
So then we're getting up to last year's NVIDIA numbers, and then, on track to get to the 200 some billion they have right now, right? So we're catching up to where they are. So they got to 88. When they got to $88 billion revenue, everyone could see that we're at 70% margin, they're huge in the growth, right?
Right.
And they already went to 4 trillion, right? And also Broadcom is at 68 billion
Hmm.
last year, and they went to just shy of 2 trillion,
Hmm.
right? So the justification, is it worth it thing, is when you're passing these other guys on their revenue run rates and the
Yeah.
profitability,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I have Cursor growing at a more modest pace because we didn't catch up, right? We're doing pretty good, but we didn't catch up,
I see.
right? And we have, I go between rented and unrented chips, tossing it split ways before, just to kind of smooth it out and make it more calculable, pop in some formulas and that kind
Okay.
of thing,
Okay.
right? But below the thing is Rubin chips here is 2 to 3 times as profitable as the 50 billion per 500,000 chips of Blackwell. I'm
Right.
at 100 billion, 150 billion renting for Rubin chips. So that just means I get faster revenue as I build Rubin, as these new chips are Rubins and not Blackwells,
Right.
right? So that is a faster growth rate that people aren't considering.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so here's where the cutover happens. I assume the cutover happens Q1 2027. I give notice end of 2026 because I caught up sometime as my shots on goal kind of. I know, okay, my model's good enough. I'm starting to ramp up revenue, right? So then my Grok revenue goes to 28 billion, at the end, a bit of a lag in growth or something like that. But then just like Anthropic went, 5 times as much revenue in 3 months, right? We know that's going to happen. So then I take over all the chips, and my nearly 1.2 million chips goes to, you know, like 700 billion dollars, right? In a annualized run rate. So it would be in the quarter, probably like, 150, some billion dollars of money, right? Because I have the Rubin multiple and I have the 6x catch-up multiple happening on these chips, right? And start accelerating faster, going to 200,000 chips per year, per quarter, and again close to 2 million chips by the middle of 2028, and then be renting those out for like, $1.2 trillion.
And that's just the rentals. It
No,
doesn't.
no, that's no longer rentals. I switched out from,
Yeah.
like, I'm doing no
Right.
renting because I
Right.
booted everyone out
Right.
because I caught up.
I
So
see.
this is why Cursor is so valuable, is that if they enable the catch up,
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
or the domination, you can even
Hmm.
go be number one, right?
So I think I understand you, but let me just be clear, and so it's clear to everybody else. The when you talk about catch up,
Mm.
you're saying, oh, I'm no longer heavy compute, which uses fewer chips but uses them more intensely, and I different chips. And once I catch up, now I've got a tremendous need for inference, and so I have to stop renting some of this because of
No,
inference.
no, no, no. What,
No,
what it means
totally
is,
wrong.
yeah. So what it means is, um, Jensen said, I think I have a quote on this. Um, Jensen said at a Sequoia meeting, this is the bottom half of the screen here.
Okay.
1 gigawatt costs $50 billion
Right.
and can make 300 to $400 billion of intelligence,
Okay.
right? Air quotes intelligence, right?
Okay.
What does he mean, right? He's probably talking about B300s because that's the $50 billion it costs to do a gigawatt of B300s
Okay.
was, like earlier this year,
Hmm.
right? And then 340 billion, he's saying when Anthropic fully sells all the tokens that I know this thing is producing
I
they
see.
can make 300, $400 billion of value if they
Okay.
fully monetize it,
Okay.
right? They're not yet. They're a $50 billion run rate. They haven't fully monetized it
Right.
yet,
Right.
right? But Gavin Baker says, hey, if you had all the energy and could satisfy demand, they could shoot up to $200 billion per year by the end of this year. They'd be close to fully monetizing
Hmm.
their gigawatt, right? So then, so this is assuming full monetization of it, that there's the unlimited demand for AI. So Ruben, Chamath has talked about it costing $100 billion for a gigawatt. I think Chamath was talking about Ruben chips on the All In podcast.
Hmm.
And they give 10 times the inference, the tokens, right? So I assume, okay, well, I don't want to 10 times this, it'd be a bit
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. But let's half the token price of the 3 trillion, of the 300 billion, so not 3 trillion, but let's half the token price or, 40% of the token price to get to like 1.5 trillion, right? I haven't even used that number of like if you have caught up with Cursor or Anthropic, where you're charging what the inference, what the token's
Right.
price is,
Right.
right? Then the end seller should be making like 1.52 trillion on a gigawatt
Okay. So now let me try again. So when you say catch up, you're saying catch up on the model.
on the coding model, on
that
the coding
you're
model,
that
on
you're
the coding
now
system.
your full frontier model, you're at least as good as Anthropic and or whoever might have passed Anthropic in the meantime.
Yeah.
So you've caught up in that regard. So now you need the compute in order to get the tokens that you need in order to so you monetize those.
I'm selling my tokens at a higher price
Right.
than me being Oracle or
Yeah.
CoreWeave
Yeah. Yeah.
or someone.
I'm not renting out my equipment anymore.
Yeah,
I'm making the multiple that I can make by selling the tokens. Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
That's
Got it.
right.
Got it.
Okay. Um, yeah. So this is where the cutover happens, right?
Okay.
So that's where I have the full value of Ruben, I have the full value of Cursor. And the cutover could happen, whatever point, or might not happen, in
Right now.
which
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
we only make
Right. 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 Yeah.
like 200 and combined $227 billion, in
Yeah.
the J column, right?
Right.
Right, where I only have rent and I have some cursor grok. I'm kind of stuck in the mode here where I've only partially kind of been competitive,
Right.
and I'm having to sell at a lower price, so that I'm making $227 billion run rate, right?
Mhm.
Instead of going multiples of that, right, to some higher
Yeah.
number,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
right? And I haven't fully given it the 1.5 trillion. I'm at like 500 billion or whatever it is,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But again, you can haircut this. You can say, okay, you know, because this um 1.2 million chips, that's like 3 gigawatts of power, right? So it's 500,000 chips, 400,000 chips that is a gigawatt of power,
Mhm.
right? So that's why the multiples are there. Yeah. Anyway, so that means that this is the non I'm not the frontier model, but I'm doing okay and I'm renting out and I got Ruben
Right.
chips.
Right.
Then definitely could get up to like $600 billion because I was at the 150
Mhm.
before, right?
Mhm.
In 2028. So we're getting up to $531 billion, which is Apple levels of revenue, right? But the profitability more like Nvidia,
NVIDIA. Right.
right? And
Right.
then 180 2027, I'm in the ballpark of Nvidia levels of revenue at Nvidia levels of profit.
Right.
This is without me being the frontier model.
Right. And
This
it's
is
only and you're only talking data centers.
only talking Rubin data centers mainly.
Yeah.
Some AI because it's not like they're not
Right.
trying.
But you're not even adding in the comms,
Yeah.
you're not adding in launch, you're
Well, I
not.
have comms and stuff up there, but it's growing slower,
I see. I see.
right? So the thing is, that's why we're not a space launch company anymore, is because that is all happening and it can only grow so fast.
Okay.
It's like the TAM
Yes.
on, you know, um, communications
Uh,
maxes out at 800 billion. It would take me 10 years or something like that
I
to
see.
fully get that, right? But I'm skimming off the best customers in the
Okay.
United States and Europe and Asia,
Yeah.
right? So I can get to $200 billion of revenue in
Mhm.
2029, which everyone else was saying, oh my God, that's so amazing. They can do that thing. It's just that it pales in comparison to the AI money, which is
Okay.
why it's just even AI rental money makes it look, and it's already past it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
already going to do like, $26 billion per year
Right. Right.
versus like $15 billion. It's just so easy to do it because it's just so much money. And it's getting better and better because I go from Blackwell to Rubin,
Right. Right.
this to that, right? Yeah. So then if we cut over, no more rentals in 2028, 2029, then you
Mhm.
have the $1 trillion in 2028, you have the $3 trillion in 2029. And if the SpaceX AI data center space is going the 3 trillion, it's just, again, more money, than anything ever. Right.
And basically, Brian, almost nobody gets this.
Right. Right.
I mean, almost nobody understands that you've got this kind of three-level thing,
Right.
and that you can make these. So I think of it like in terms of product.
Hmm.
I need to put my manufacturing equipment in that's going to make the amount of product that I need for 2 years from now. I don't want to put my manufacturing equipment to make just barely what I need this year.
Right.
So I put that manufacturing equipment in. Well, maybe I have to take some OEM jobs on that manufacturing equipment now that I've got it. Maybe I hardly make anything comparatively. I
Yeah.
don't make as much making for somebody else as I do making for me.
Mhm.
And then
Right.
pretty soon my own customers catch up. I'm
Right.
like, okay, you guys are out of here. I don't need you anymore.
Right. And the thing is, I'm not even talking AGI. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
talking, um, digital agents like with Digital Optimus and stuff like that. I'm even holding back on that.
yeah.
And there was a tweet today from Dave
Tweet,
Lee.
a tweet.
Yeah, a post today from Dave Lee,
Yes. Yeah,
OG Tesla guy,
yeah.
right? Saying that Fable 5 is AGI.
Oh,
He's using um,
Fable 5.
the Anthropic stuff. Like he was annoyed when they paused
Hold
his
it.
use
Yeah,
of it,
yeah, yeah.
right? That he was annoyed by it. So the reason he's no longer doing Tesla um, YouTube videos is
Oh,
because he had a company that he's working with the AI models to make product,
I see.
right? So he's using this all the freaking time,
I see.
and then he's using the latest models. Like Herbert also uses the latest Claude models, right? And then the other thing about switching off and going from, okay, I'm competitive. I take back my compute from Anthropic and from
Right,
Google.
right, right.
Before Anthropic had the compute that XAI has, right? They had to throttle their models. They
Yeah,
could
yeah.
not
Yes, right,
give them as much, so it made them dumber,
right.
right? So if I catch up, not only do I catch up and I use all my stuff, by my taking away some of your compute,
Yeah,
I make your models dumber.
right, right.
So again, people don't get that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's what I've been thinking about too, because if again, taking the manufacturing equivalent, I now tell that OEM customer, oh, sorry, I can't make it for you anymore. I'll give you 90 days notice, but I can't make it for you anymore. All of a sudden that guy's like, how am I going to supply my customers?
Right,
And there's not going to be somebody else that can just run over and say, oh, could I get some compute from you?
right,
Yeah,
right. And the other thing would be that why doesn't Anthropic care? Why are they leaving themselves vulnerable to
yeah.
this thing? It's because they don't have a choice.
Choice that they
And
have.
the other thing is that they are now set up good for Q3 and Q4
Yeah,
for their IPO.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
come out at $3 billion. They raised
yeah,
$200 billion,
yeah.
right? And they're in the game.
Yeah,
They have long-term sustainability,
right,
right?
right.
Versus OpenAI, they just had a leak that they were only making, like a $13 billion AI revenue in 2025, and they were um, losing $20 billion per year,
Yeah,
right? So people are saying, oh, look, um, SpaceX only made $18.7 billion and at a 4.5 or $5 billion loss last
right,
year,
right.
right? OpenAI was making less revenue and they had more losses.
Right.
And now this year, I think they're at 20 to $25 billion run rate.
Mm,
So they're behind the run rate of the 26 billion that we
mm,
got.
mm.
And behind, we got Cursor, we're at $30 billion run rate, like in October, September, October. And that's not even counting more growth from Cursor, which
Yeah.
people, like Brad Gerstner was expecting $10 billion before, I think so. $10 billion for 20, $36 billion easy. If we do another rental or two, we're at 40, 45, $50 billion of revenue run rate by the end of this year on the AI part only,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're solid number two behind Anthropic. OpenAI is falling behind and not profitable. We are profitable now.
Right. Right.
$26 billion, $2 billion per month makes you profitable.
Well, because it's all profit.
Yeah, because it's all profit.
It's
That's right.
100% profit. I mean,
Right.
that's my kind of business
Right.
where I've already got my cost is already in my P&L,
Right.
and all I'm doing is adding a completely new income stream from the same stuff I already got.
That's
That's
right.
that's my kind of business.
Yes. So now we can get back to
Okay. All right.
the model. Give me a second here. Um,
We're gonna find an agent system that helps all of us put up these.
yes, I know. I
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this. Okay, so revenue, there are these multipliers, gigawatt multipliers, more energy, as well as more multiples on being the frontier model. And you can compare to Broadcom, the other guys, the $2 trillion, $5 trillion thing becomes very justifiable in Q4,
Mhm.
right? Because we're doing all this money and we have the high margin,
Right.
right? And they'll have in August, they'll have or late July, they'll have the earnings call and they'll explain, here are the freaking numbers,
Hmm.
right? And then they'll have an update in December. Here are the freaking numbers so that the stuff I'm showing will become clear and they'll have a bit of projection and stuff on that. And also at that point, if Anthropic's making $200 billion and Cursor is at $20 billion run rate, right, $30 billion run rate,
Hmm.
then or we catch up and go to like $50 billion, then that will also the scaling of the revenue will become clear to
Yeah.
everyone. I
Yeah.
think some of the AI guys, your Leopold and other guys, they get it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think also like Gavin Baker had this. He just didn't want to like say it that here's what the stuff can be. So Micron 10X, it was justified. The other memory guys, it was justified because they became the bottleneck. They went from 15, 20% margin to 70, 80% margin, and the revenue went up.
Yeah.
This is what that looked like. 2 years ago, they're at 6 to 8 billion, not quite, and they're at like $100 a share, right? Roll forward 18 months, they're still at, $8 to $9 billion, starting to move up. And then beginning of this year, they go to like 9 to 14, and this last quarter, 23. So they
Hmm.
didn't really go super ballistic. They went a double in the year and a half to get
Right.
to a triple in their stock price, right? And then I got another triple by doing a double in a quarter, right? So that's what happened to them, justifying their 10x from
Right.
$100 to $1,000 over 2 years.
Right. And what's their PE right now?
Their PE is super low. Their PE
Oh,
is
yeah. Two
like
percent is
eight
it?
four eight four going. So because they're 23 billion, um, if you do 4 quarters of that, that's like $100 billion. So you're
Yeah.
like a 10 PE,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So because people don't think they can keep going,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they think, hey, the memory can't keep going.
Right. Right.
But when SpaceX does it, they'll be like, can you keep making data centers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have been. I made 2 gigawatts that. I can make 2 gigawatts again.
Yeah.
Can you get the revenue? Well, the Rubin chips came out. What's
Yeah.
coming next? A Feynman chip,
Yeah.
right? If I'm selling all that data, the demand is insatiable. So then why would they think it would end? So maybe the whole AI bubble's there, in which case you'll have like a 20, 25 PE, which is what they give to NVIDIA, where they know NVIDIA will have the monopoly and they'll keep charging, but they're not sure if there's going to be some kind of like bubble where just AI suddenly just goes away,
Yeah. Let
right?
me let me take a quick detour before I forget it.
Mhm.
Elon said recently that gas turbines were the big issue. my guess is that and you said you're going to show me pictures, whatever, but I think I read someplace where Korea makes a lot of gas turbines. Is
Yeah,
that Samsung or is that somebody else?
that is,
Oh, guess what? I got ahead. Okay.
it is Doosan.
Tucson. Okay.
Doosan Enerbility makes 380 megawatt H-class gas turbines.
Okay.
Elon has 12 on order.
Oh, I see.
That's 4.6 gigawatts.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so he has, probably has a lockup on their production for years. Two should be coming this year, by the end of this year. The first two should be this year, the next five over the next 2 years. And then 2029, they should be coming at a steady cadence of like, I don't know, two per year or three per year, whatever the heck it
Look
would be.
at the size of those turbines. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
And this metal is all special, right? And then you see the guys down below, those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
the guys
No, I'm
down
looking
below.
at the size of, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And the turbine is just the main heart of the reactor,
Right.
right? You got
Mm.
to connect it up to pipes. You do a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff,
But the
right?
rest of it has not been the issue. He said the turbines
Yeah.
were the issue. We
Turbines are
even
the issue.
thought maybe he would start making blades because he said blades were the issue.
Yeah.
But if he's got this locked up, then all he needs to do,
I think, Doosan may not be able to keep up with them.
I say, yeah, yeah.
I
So,
think he may make his own,
uh,
right? But he has an option on these larger, more permanent gas turbines,
I see. Okay.
right? But then he also has, um, oh, I didn't get it. Okay, so after them, so Doosan, 12 reactors, right?
Okay.
4.6 gigawatts over the
Okay.
next,
Man.
4 years, 3 years, something like that. Tennessee Valley Authority, one of the best utilities in the United States,
Hmm.
they're adding 150 megawatts per location. They have 3 locations,
Wow.
right, so far, adding more locations. They won't start a new location if you couldn't give me 150 megawatts. And then they pay them money to add more substations and other things. So
Hmm.
they're paying them, hey, speed up here. I need
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
more power.
yeah, yeah.
Solar turbines, forget the plus sign. Solar turbine, that's the Caterpillar guys. They have a joint venture where they have almost 50%, where
Hmm.
they get 65, 70% of their production, 1.4 gigawatts over the next 3 years, about a $3 billion deal, right?
Wow.
So add that up, we're like 6 gigawatts over the next 3 years or so, right?
Right.
2 gigawatts per year, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then we can top that up with the hundreds of megawatts from batteries and solar,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
all on the ground right now,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? We already got two gigawatt
Right.
things, right? So people say, oh, this doesn't exist yet. Deals in hand.
Again, this is the thing about Elon that absolutely like 1/10 of 1% of the investing class
Mhm.
understands is that what he's done, and they watched it, but they don't get it,
Yeah,
is that he is able to find the turbines,
yeah,
find the gas, find the batteries, find the lithium. If he doesn't find it, he makes it. I mean, it's unbelievable.
right, right. And then they think, well, I don't understand. This wasn't in the S1, right? It's like, yeah, 300 pages of S1. You had to go dig around in some news press releases to find where they made the deal.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you could go look at the aerial photo where they have the Caterpillar turbines at their site,
Ah,
right?
ah,
The pictures out there, I have
oh,
pictures of those things
wow.
showing these turbines there, the 400 megawatts they got, right? And then they can get more of them. So I have after the Doosan thing. So in the photo, I think they have some of these little container things are the mobile gas turbines
I
at
see.
Colossus One,
I
right?
see. Yeah.
And then they're more over here. The stuff on the side, the black stuff, is stuff at Colossus Two, right?
Okay.
This is the thing, the solar turbine Caterpillar company. The
Mm,
joint venture they have is like, I forget, Solar Turbines LLC or some such thing, where they have 49.9%, and they cut the deal to get, more of their supply.
yeah.
This is a picture of macro harder,
Okay.
aka Colossus 3,
Okay.
right? So this is 48 acres, 810,000 square feet, right? Over in Mississippi,
Okay.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So they got that in end of before Christmas last year,
Hmm.
right? And then they've been, fixing up the stuff inside the building so that you can stick in the stuff and then whatever they've been doing on the energy side,
Got it.
right? So, 5, 6 months of prep
Yeah.
getting it ready to go so that they can install their stuff,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, oh, how will they add more power? Where will they put this thing? Again, you go find the deal, find the announcements,
Right.
and then that's where it is. And so this was a joint venture stuff, and they're working with Tennessee Valley Authority. So XAI, now SpaceX, invested like $55 million into their substations
Mm.
to say, hurry the heck up on your
Yeah.
substations to give me more power. I need
Yeah.
another 150 megawatts from you or 300 megawatts from you guys. They
Yeah.
installed 240 battery units for stability and backup. So then they can say, I can give you a better price. I can give you the power now because you promise that when people are home from 6 to 9, I don't have to give you power if I don't need to.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
the power is there, I'll give it to you,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everyone else. But
Yeah.
if I'm short, you're the first one to cut off
Right.
because then you go to batteries
Right.
or the other stuff.
Right.
So this is the affiliate thing. Doosan Energy, here the terms of the turbines and the deal, 7-year deals locked up for Solaris, and then they already have some fleet, already have some stuff. So basically, the 2 gigawatt a year look pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And oops, let's go back to something Chamath said. Chamath was talking about $100 billion um, per year. Sorry, per gigawatt to build it. He's talking about Rubin, I think,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he tried to make an Arizona.
All right.
He is trying to make an Arizona
Data center.
facility data center, right? He was saying when he started the project 2 years ago, he thought he could spend like $5 billion or something like that
Right.
for the shell and for the other stuff. But now he's come up with $100 billion, right? So here's my ballpark about where that is. He's paying more for chips than Elon is,
Yes.
right? And he's paying more for power infrastructure because Elon did power deals 2 years ago,
Yeah. Right.
right? So he locked in the lower price when it still existed, right? So then they have to spend 20. That's a big enduring thing.
Yeah.
Elon's got power for 3 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? No one else has power for 3 years. They're still like scrambling, trying to even get it.
Yeah.
He had it for 3 years. And they do get it. They got to overpay,
Yeah.
right? Not overpay.
Yeah.
It's a
You got to
bottleneck
pay the
price.
current right. They got the
It's
current
going
price.
right.
Yeah.
Cooling systems, again, better integration. Again, Elon already locked it up. If that's 7 billion. Building site construction. He already has a site. He got that Mississippi place,
Right.
right? So he's got these deals and he finds these retrofit locations
Hmm.
to get things going, right? And he got obviously great relations with Tennessee, with Mississippi, everywhere. He's all fine, right? Land acquisition and prep. Again, he's got the teams doing it. He doesn't pay some third party. He's got the guys who can
Hmm.
do the
Hmm.
prep on it.
Hmm.
Design permitting about the same. And then financing, because he does it in a year.
Yeah.
Other guys take 4 years.
Right.
Then he's 5 times lower on the financing costs.
Yeah.
So then net 65, 68 versus like 100, 110, 120, right? So down to half price, faster and half price. And then he starts the next project where
Right.
I finished my 2 gigawatts while you're still building your first. I've cycled through and done my next project, my next project, my next project
Right.
on stuff I already locked in the price on.
Right. Right.
So that's his cost and speed advantage. That was the Chamath thing. Yeah. So then Catalyst. So we raised $85 billion in the IPO, right?
Right.
5%. All the people who, are still quoting 75 billion didn't pay attention to the fact that we green shoed and
Sure. Yeah.
got another 10 billion in there.
Yeah.
We ramped to 2.5 trillion, up and down. We bought Cursor. That's happening. June 26th, we get the inclusion. That's, a bunch of buying there. July 6th, NASDAQ inclusion, more buying there. That's about, I would say, 25% of the available float gets bought up.
Okay.
Negatives unlocks in August, right? But then, and then smaller unlocks in September, October, November, and then a bigger December unlock. But the thing is, within 3 to 5 weeks of every unlock, you get the rebalancing, which
Yeah.
means NASDAQ, Russell, and FTSE buy back shares. I think that the September one only had NASDAQ, and then December has FTSE and Russell and everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a bigger buyback thing. But the people say, well, suddenly all these shares are there, who's going to absorb it? The market right now is waiting for those other inclusions. We're still like,
Yeah. Yeah.
2-4 weeks away from those inclusions, right? And no one, we're not trading down. Oh, I can't wait 3 weeks for this all to be soaked up, right? I know someone else is going to be buying it from me
Right.
soon, right?
Right.
So here I unlock in August, all this shares come out. We dip down some, except the smart money knows September 18th, I'm bailed out, right? So how much do I want to have now? How much will I allow it to be sold down before I get it bid up on September 18th?
Right.
How long in the other stuff do I wait before the December 11th and December 18th things?
Mhm.
And we still have the granddaddy September, June next year or earlier if they
Right.
choose to start doing it earlier, S&P 500 inclusion,
Right.
right? So there's all that buying, and then we have the announcements, Rubin chips, builds, all these other things that are positive catalysts. So I think the negative catalysts get overwhelmed by
Yeah.
the positive
Oh, yeah.
catalysts.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the big thing is actually the AI. Do we get to AGI? Are they keeping pace? Do we have Cursor 3, Cursor 4, Grok 5, Grok 6, bigger parameter models? This is actually, once they fully internalize, this is an AI company, right? This will matter more. Once we hit the inflection of, and Cursor and Grok are competitive again,
Hmm. Hmm.
it'll suddenly flip. It just like Anthropic was left for dead,
Yeah. Yeah.
back when they were trying to raise like 100 and $300 billion, right? It was like, oh, they're behind OpenAI, right? And they don't have as much data center,
Hmm.
right? So then they think, oh, maybe Anthropic is dead. Then they release Opus 4.5, and suddenly it's great. And suddenly, it flipped like that with the release of Opus
Right.
4.5,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So um, this can flip too, and there's reasons why they can catch up on the model, and we'll have all these attempts, July, August, September,
Right.
anything that kind of works better could speed up the revenue generation, right? And
Hmm.
then even keeping closer pace with Anthropic would be valuable to them. Even if it's not to the point I boost them out of the data center. Going from, instead of going to $10 billion at the end of the year, I go to $30 billion run rate, right? I haven't fully copied Anthropic, but it's looking pretty good. I'm able to monetize too,
Right. Right.
right? That'd be a huge thing. And I know that I can build as much of these 2 gigawatts per year of data center as I can afford to do.
Yes.
And I know I'm going to rent it out. I'm going to make money on it. So they will go as fast as they can on that. They can also announce deals where they say, work with someone to say, you pay me and I will build the data center faster
Oh,
because
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? So because everything they do is more efficient, the fact that I can do it in a year versus 4 years,
Right.
people will pay a premium on that. And then the Starship V3 launches, X payments or some other stuff. Those are some minor things. Um,
Some minor things. So
the
the Starship launch is like is
Yeah,
so critical.
yeah. And then okay, so the multiples on the Starship too. So they only talk about the version one thing, which is 70 a kilowatt per ton.
Hmm.
So I can launch 100 tons with the version 3 rocket going up
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
So that means $7 million for the 100 tons,
Okay.
right? 70,000
Yep.
kilowatts,
Yep.
so
Yep.
multiplication, right? At $100 billion per year, which is Rubin chips, I'm launching $700 million per launch.
Mm.
Every one of my launches, which if I'm fully reusable, or it's $2 million. So then I'm making $700 million on that launch
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
If I go to $300 million, which is more of I'm selling at a fully valued Blackwell,
Right.
where I'm frontier model, then that's $2 billion.
Hmm.
And then if I go to a fully valued or near fully valued Rubin chip, that could be $1 trillion, that could be $7 billion per 7 megawatt launch. Per launch,
Hmm.
I'm tossing up $7 billion of revenue because after 100 launches, I'm getting to $700 billion, right? So, and then next year, we'll switch to version 4, 200 tons of launch. So then I double up that. So every time I'm launching 14 megawatts,
Hmm. Hmm.
1.4 at the lower rate, $14 billion at the high rate, right? So then 20 megawatts is when I switch to version 2 satellites. So we're on version 3 satellites, which meant we went from version 1 Starlink to
Mhm.
1.5 to 2 mini and now 3. So we're on the fourth version of the satellites, right? So they do every year, year and a half update their satellites, right? So we're going to update our AI satellites every
Right.
year or so, right?
Right.
I think that it'll be a year instead of every year and a half because they'll have so much money and there's so much need to speed up. And so then if I only get, you know, 100 kilowatts per ton, right? Then I go to like 20 megawatts. I went from 14 up to 20 because I made, I could even get more efficiency. It's not impossible to get to double, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
In which case you're doing like 30 megawatts per per launch, right? So that again means at the higher rates, 2 billion, 6 billion, $20 billion, right? So then it would only take me 50 launches at the 20 megawatt level to get to a gigawatt.
Mhm.
50 launches launching, 200 satellites per something like that. So it's just the number of chips, right? And then if I go to, I think 30 megawatts is totally achievable. So then only 30 launches, 33 launches to do a gigawatt. And we know how insanely valuable that is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So that's basically it. So all these multiples involved, and it's kind of like difficult to see how everything goes next level on this stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the tough question. I've been
Okay.
asking everybody this tough question. Putting aside that there's probably going to be a merger,
Mhm.
or as was brought up today, possibly it's a holding company.
Yeah.
But let's say, and Elon said, I like it to the holding company idea.
Mhm.
Assuming, let's say that neither one of those things happen.
Yeah.
Aren't the Tesla stockholders going to be mad if we don't get every other data center?
Because of the distributed data center thing or because of the build out of it. So I did have something on that on my Chamath page. Let me just get back and show that so I can
Because
get.
if X gets all the data centers, it's
Yeah, yeah.
combined. Yeah.
So we will Tesla will make data centers.
Okay.
So I think all in podcast you want. Okay, so here on the right, AI5, AI6 chips. That means instead of NVIDIA chips at $48 billion, we
Mm.
drop to $20 billion if I'm paying Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla, I want the chips too. Need to be an arm's length transaction.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
probably have to pay $20 billion, maybe at the very, very low end, $10 billion, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It drops the whole price of this thing down to about $27 billion or $37 billion.
Wow.
So almost half the price, right?
Wow.
When I go to AI5, AI6 chips, right? But if it's one company, then it's like $5 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
cost on energy is like 15 or $17 billion. I'm at $20 billion. I'm at one third the price on it, right? So that's the value is that. So one, I'm always, where possible, I'm buying Tesla chips.
Hmm.
But for one company, our cost of goods goes to one third.
Right.
If we're separate companies, it's one half.
Right.
And I got to pay taxes multiple times all over,
Yeah.
right? So that is, and then this doesn't also count the fact that I can make the energy at superchargers and power walls, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
superchargers and power walls and cars and robots
Yeah.
means that Tesla can be making 10 gigawatts a year when that's ramped up in 3 years,
Hmm.
4 years, right?
Hmm.
That every new supercharger, mega charger, all the power walls in people's homes,
Right.
all that stuff, and all the AI5 chips in cars and bots, all becomes distributed compute. And that can go to 10 gigawatts per year. It might even go to like 20 or 30 gigawatts per year. I'm sucking out power everywhere, right? But that, I was talking before about like 5 gigawatts, going from 2 gigawatts per year to 5 gigawatts per year on land, right? With the Tesla side, I can, you know, 4x, 5x that amount of energy
Right.
because it's all over the place,
Right.
right? That I'm doing it. Um, Also not counting the fact that the if I can power up only with solar and um,
Batteries.
and mega blocks,
And mega blocks, yeah.
Mega blocks
And
with transformers,
right.
right? If I can just drop down 1,000, 10,000 mega blocks, and I have my factory that I'm building, tossing in 100 gigawatts of
Hmm.
solar.
Hmm.
That was the goal, 100
Hmm.
gigawatts of solar. But the 100 gigawatts of solar on the ground is only, 16 gigawatts of like constant power. Only 16
Yeah,
gigawatts,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that's 4 times more than anyone else,
Right.
right? So, even at the rate that we're going at 4 gigawatts, right? So being able to do that where it's like, I don't need any natural gas or like very, very little, right?
Right.
I'm going like 80, 90% solar and batteries
Totally.
and like 20% natural gas to kind of like
Hmm.
top up or do whatever, right?
Hmm.
Then I'm no longer having to do deals with Doosan. I don't have to do deals with the capital. I'm still doing them because I still want
Yeah.
that power, that's four
Right, right.
gigawatts. But I'm able to add on that extra power,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why the Tesla people should not be sad, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to get all the stuff from the chips and they get all the stuff from the power.
Got it.
The
Got it.
power and the chips are key blocks
Yeah. Yeah.
in this whole thing,
Got it.
right? But if I got my power and chips and I'm pumping it through a cursor Grok Frontier
Right.
model,
Right.
that's why them going together is such a powerful
Yeah.
combination,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Totally makes sense. It's gonna, as everybody says, it's gonna happen.
Hmm.
You don't hear anybody saying, you don't hear anybody of any gravitas
Yeah,
saying it's not going to happen.
right,
So,
right.
Brian, as
Yeah,
always, such fun. Nobody,
yeah,
this video is maybe one of the best we've ever done.
right.
And if people miss it,
Yeah,
they're really missing it. They're
right,
really missing out.
right.
So thank you for putting that together. Very original, very newsworthy. I mean, again, why are people like you, maybe even me, not the ones on CNBC? We're breaking news here
Right.
every week on this channel.
Yeah,
And CNBC, they bring on the same old yo-yos over and over again
yeah,
that have no news. They're just talking heads that have their opinion about something.
right,
But this is news, breaking
right.
news. All right, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to all
Awesome.
of you out there, it's been great talking to
Oh,
you.
by the way, before we last go, sign up down below. We can
Oh,
have a
yes,
discussion.
absolutely. To
Yeah, so
talk to Brian,
talk to me. Yeah,
he's ready to talk to you.
yeah. Okay, bye bye.